Lauren is my wife and she's 27 years old. I'm Smith and I'm 29 years old. I thought that I and my wife of 2 years had a very good marriage for a long time, or so I thought. At my mother's funeral, I met Lauren, who was the daughter of a friend of my mother. With her mother, she attended the condolence service for my mother. I found my mother friend to be very caring, and she told me that I could get in touch with her at any time. She was a very nice lady, and she also gave me her phone number as well. As a matter of fact, I was studying in a different town for my higher studies, so I wasn't aware of her, but according to her, she had been her friend for a long time. It wasn't long after that incident that she invited me over for dinner at her house after a few days had passed. From there, I was able to get in contact with Lauren, and from there, we got to know each other. I was a mechanical engineer, and I found out that Lara was also in her final year of study for a degree in mechanical engineering at the time we met. This was the thing that we associated with us, so we exchanged numbers and started chatting. The first few months were entirely professional, but after a few months, we started hanging out like best friends, as if it was just a casual chat. It was once that Lauren had to finish one project, and she needed my help in order to complete it. In order to work together, I told her that she should come over here. This was one of the most interesting nights I have ever had. After we had finished the project, I asked her to stay with me because of the storm and the rain, and somehow, I don't know how, I just felt a spark between us and we just slept that night. I was not expecting it to happen, but it did, and shortly after that we started dating one another. It was only a matter of time before we both decided to get married one day. After dating for 3 months, we got married. Anyways, there was a lot of love between us after all, as we had some very good experience with each other. As a couple, we had a fairly good sex life with the expectations that Lauren would often express her desire to try something new like an anal among other naughty things, and get more creative sexually as a couple in general. In addition to her excitement, she was also very energetic in sex. However, she fulfilled all of her in my fantasies. It was once expressed by her that she had a very strange fantasy of having a threesome. It was astonishment on my part when she abruptly changed the subject by saying that she was just joking with me. It seemed as if she was pulling my legs because I don't like these intimate acts. I was extremely happy with Lauren and just having sex with her. In spite of this, we both worked in different companies at the time. One time she told me she had to go with a colleague to Spain for a new project that they were working on. My response was that it was cool. You can go if you want. I appreciated the fact that she did it as part of her job. From a career point of view, I was a very straightforward person, and I always supported her in any way I could. As a result, she spent about 2 weeks in Spain. I noticed a drastic change in her attitude towards me after she got back. After that, I noticed that she did not have any sexual activity with me. She did not even kiss me before she left for the office. She started getting new lingerie and bikinis, and I thought that she was buying them all for me, but she never wore them for me. In addition, she went out of town every month, and she was always telling me that she had a lot of work to do and that she was leading her team. This was the cause of her hectic routine that she suffered from. In the course of using her laptop, I found a record of an online purchase of a watch that had been made once in history. I thought that she had bought it for me. I did not get it from her. There were a lot of red flags in my head, and I was worried about what was actually going on. There was no doubt in my mind that she was cheating on me. Due to the strange way in which she behaved, this fact came out again and again. However, I decided to track her activities. One of my friends told me about a private detective. I called him and asked him for the details of the detective he gave. He said it would take 2 days for him to get all the details. I received a message from him after 2 days with all the contact information. I called him and set up a meeting with him. In fact, when I met him, I discovered that there were 2 of them, one male and one female. In my briefing, I explained the whole situation to them. A picture of my wife was requested from me by them. I provided them all the details about her office, her contacts, etc. It was then that they began investigating her. The only thing I had to do was wait to find out what the results of the investigation would be. In 2 days' time, Lauren came to me and started talking about her job, and also told me that her boss had increased her salary and in addition, he had given her a bonus based on the success of her project. It appears that I was happy at the time. The investigators called me after a week to set up a meeting with them. When I met them, they first offered condolences and then gave me an envelope with a few pictures of Lauren in bed with someone and a USB drive with her sin video and pictures. I learned that Lauren was sleeping with her boss. For me, it was a huge shock to hear this news. In the midst of my painful tears, I was aware of how I was controlling them. Despite my fear, I kept myself in control and sat down in the car. As I drove to the beach, I spent a great deal of time just trying to convince myself that Lauren had cheated on me. There were a lot of tears shed by me as the truth blew my mind so badly that I just wanted to kill myself rather than think about it. My brain was built up with Lauren's pictures. It was like I was having flashbacks of her infidelity every second. I was hurt badly. After I started drinking to overcome my pain, I drank all the night long to overcome my pain. I'm not sure how I got to the house, but in the morning, I woke up on the sofa of my house and opened my eyes. As Lauren was already in her office, she had already left for the day. Still, I was in a lot of pain. I understand now that she was fucked by her boss and that is why her salary increased, because she was put in a bad position. I wanted revenge on her for what she had done to me, and I came up with an idea about leaking her pictures and videos on the office group as well. But I don't have access to the office group where she works. But first, according to my plan, I was going to send all these to her boss. It was at this point that I waited for her to arrive. After she went into the washroom, I found her cell phone on the bed. The password I knew did not work, even though I picked it up and tried it. When she was using her PIN to open her cell phone, I wrote down her password. After that, I waited for her to fall asleep. As soon as she fell asleep in the middle of the night, my hand reached out for her cell phone and I opened her WhatsApp messenger on her cell phone. In order to proceed, I first shared all the pictures and videos with her phone. Then I shared all these things in those pictures and videos were sent to her boss along with all the attachments. My message stated that if I don't get $1 million, I will make all the pictures and videos available to all the staff in the office as well as to your family. And then I deleted all these things for me from her phone and went to bed. As soon as she returned from work the next day, she was weeping. She did not tell me anything when I asked her about it. In spite of that, I was aware that what had happened to her at that time, in my opinion, she was still winning. This is because I was sure that her boss had asked her to explain the picture and video she sent last night to her boss. For 2 days, she was not able to eat a meal. Additionally, I ignored her as well. Well, in the middle of the night, she went to another room, called her boss and cried a lot, explaining to her that her phone must have been hacked, but she did not take all the pictures and videos that had been stored. The reason I was ignoring everything was because she was getting into my trap while I had fun taking advantage of it. As I was checking her cell phone when I had the chance, I was surprised to find out that her boss was getting upset at her because of these pictures and videos, and he had just decided to fire her for it, but she was begging him not to do so. In any case, he would also fucked up by what I had done. Following that, as I had access to her cell phone, I proceeded to take a look at it. I bought a new contact number as well as a new cell phone. I sent Lauren all her photos and videos from that number so that she could see them all. My next step was to send her a blackmail message. In this message, I informed her that if she did not give me money, then I would disclose all these details to your husband and family. As much as she was getting tortured by that, the fact of the matter was that I was enjoying it just as much. I was the mastermind behind all of this. As soon as I gave her an ultimatum that she must pay me the amount of money, she got a loan from one of her friends. She then paid me the money. As time marched on, I began to demand more and more from her. As a result of all of this, she was becoming depressed by the day. After that, she started begging me to stop this blackmailing, even trying to convince me to have sex instead of paying the money. I found her to be the characterless woman. Last but not least, I was able to send pictures and videos to her official group from her cell phone. Her life was destroyed from the moment she got fired the next day. When she came back, she began crying hard and then she began telling me everything about her truth. As a response, I just gave her divorce papers and said I was the person who was sending all this stuff to you and your boss because you cheated on me, you broke my trust. Basically, it was my revenge and I was able to achieve what I wanted. She begged me and said that I was telling you everything and I begged you to give me one more chance. But I said no, not ever. Do you think that if I were to commit such a crime, what would be your response to me if I did? There was a lot of crying on her part, but I did not feel any sense of mercy in my mind at all. After she had snubbed me a few times and promised to never do that again, my heart sank when she fell at my feet and reminded me about how great time we had together. But I had already made up my mind and got her out of the house. Several days later, she came to my office and asked me to forgive her, but she could not convince me to do so. She went away and I did not see her again. In addition to knowing what I committed, she also knew that I was going to fulfill it. She deserved what I had done to her, even though I felt very bad for her. There is nothing more important to her to do than to face how people will view her as a slut everywhere when they will ask her and bully her for being a slut. Then she will understand what loyalty is and what she has lost. I tried to meet all her needs and always tried to make her happy, but I don't know why she cheated on me. Until the day I die, this question will remain in my mind. In my experience, moving on is easy, but forgetting is impossible, especially in the case when your loved one cheats on you. However, this is the world in which we have to survive no matter what it takes. You can watch a bunch of cheating and revenge stories if you subscribe to this channel and click on the bell icon on the page.